You've been running for years, maybe your whole life. You know God is calling you. You feel it. You hear it. You can't escape it. But you keep running. Running from His voice. Running from His plan. Running from surrender. Running from what He's asking you to do. You tell yourself you're not ready. You need more time. You'll deal with it later. After you get your life together. After you accomplish this one thing. After you enjoy yourself a little longer. Always after. Never now. But deep down, you're not waiting for the right time. You're running. From commitment. From change. From obedience. From God Himself. And that running is exhausting. It's destroying you. It's costing you everything. Your peace. Your purpose. Your potential. Your power. Because you can't run from God and experience the fullness of what He has for you at the same time. It's impossible. So let me tell you what happens when a man finally stops running. When he turns around. When he surrenders. When he says yes to what he's been saying no to. When he stops fighting God and starts following Him. Because everything changes. Not around you. And that internal change transforms everything external. The first thing that happens when a man stops running from God is he finds peace. Real peace. Not the absence of problems. The presence of God in the middle of problems. A peace that doesn't make sense. That can't be explained. That exists despite circumstances. Philippians 4 verse 7 calls it, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. It surpasses understanding. You can't logic your way into it. Can't earn it. Can't manufacture it. It only comes when you stop running and surrender to God. Because running creates anxiety. Rebellion creates turmoil. Resistance creates restlessness. You're constantly looking over your shoulder. Constantly uneasy. Constantly aware that you're not where you're supposed to be. Doing what you're supposed to do. Being who you're supposed to be. And that awareness creates a low-grade anxiety that never goes away. Even when things are going well. Even when you're succeeding. Even when you're happy. There's this underlying unrest. This persistent discomfort. This nagging feeling that something's not right. That's the cost of running from God. And it never goes away until you stop running. But when you stop, when you surrender, when you finally say yes, that anxiety lifts. That restlessness settles. That discomfort disappears. Not because your circumstances changed. Because your position changed. You're no longer running from God. You're walking with Him. And there's peace in that position that nothing else can provide. The second thing that happens is clarity. Suddenly, things that were confusing become clear. Decisions that were impossible become obvious. Your path that was clouded becomes visible. Because God's not hiding His will from obedient people. He's hiding it from rebellious ones. James 1 verse 5 promises, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. God gives wisdom generously. But you have to be in position to receive it. You have to stop running long enough to hear Him. To listen. To receive direction. When you're running, you can't hear clearly. You're too busy trying to justify your disobedience. Rationalize your rebellion. Explain away your resistance. And all that mental gymnastics creates fog. Confusion. Uncertainty. But when you stop running, when you surrender, when you come into alignment with God's will, the fog lifts. The confusion clears. The uncertainty disappears. Because you're no longer fighting for your way. You're seeking His way. And He makes His way known to those who are willing to walk it. Psalm 32 verse 8 says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. God instructs. God teaches. God counsels. But only those who've stopped running. Only those who've surrendered. Only those who are actually listening. The third thing that happens is purpose. You discover why you're here. What you're made for. What you're supposed to be doing with your life. Because your purpose is tied to God's plan. And His plan is only revealed to those who are willing to follow it. You've been searching for purpose while running from the one who designed you with purpose. You've been looking for meaning while avoiding the source of all meaning. You've been trying to find yourself while running from the God who created you. And it doesn't work. You can't find purpose apart from God. You can find success. achievement, accomplishment, but not purpose, not meaning, not the reason you exist. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 reveals, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." God has plans for you. Specific plans. Good plans. Plans that give you a future and hope. But you can't walk in those plans while running from the one who made them. So you've been living below your purpose, beneath your potential, outside your calling, working jobs that don't fulfill you, chasing dreams that don't satisfy you, building a life that doesn't reflect who you were created to be. But when you stop running, when you surrender to God, He reveals your purpose, shows you what you're made for, directs you toward your calling. And everything you build from that point forward has meaning, has value, has eternal significance, because it's aligned with why you were created. It's fulfilling what you were designed to do. It's walking in the purpose God had in mind when He made you. The fourth thing that happens is power. God's power, working through you, enabling you, empowering you to do things you couldn't do on your own, to overcome things you couldn't overcome, to become who you couldn't become without Him. Acts 1 verse 8 promises, "But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you." Power, not just motivation, not just inspiration. Power, the same power that raised Jesus from the dead, the same power that created the universe, available to you, working through you. But that power is only available to surrendered men, to men who've stopped running, who said yes, who've submitted to God's authority. Because God doesn't give His power to people who are using it for their own purposes. He gives it to people who are submitted to His purposes. When you're running from God, you're operating in your own strength. And your strength is limited. You hit walls. You face obstacles you can't overcome. You encounter problems you can't solve. You try to change but can't. You try to grow but plateau. You try to break free but stay stuck. Because you're trying to do in your strength what can only be done in His power. But when you stop running, when you surrender, when you align yourself with God's will, His power becomes available to you. And things that were impossible become possible. Chains that were unbreakable get broken. Strongholds that were unconquerable get conquered. Mountains that were immovable get moved. Not because you got stronger, because you got connected to the source of all strength. The fifth thing that happens is relationships shift. Some people leave. Some people come. Some relationships deepen. Some relationships end. Because when you stop running from God and start walking with Him, your circle changes. 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14 warns, "Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? What fellowship has light with darkness?" When you stop running and start following God, you can't maintain the same relationships you had when you were running. Some people won't understand your change, won't support your obedience, won't celebrate your surrender. They'll call you fake, extreme, judgmental, self-righteous. They'll say you've changed. And they're right. You have changed. That's the whole point. And those people will fall away. Not because you push them away, because they can't come where you're going. They're not willing to go where God is leading you. They're still running. And you can't walk with God and keep running with people who are running from Him. But here's what also happens. New people come. God-aligned people. Purpose-driven people. People who are also walking with God. Who understand your obedience. Who celebrate your surrender. Who sharpen you instead of dulling you. Who push you toward God instead of pulling you away from Him. Proverbs 27 verse 17 says, "Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another." But that only works when both men are made of iron. When both are following God. When both have stopped running. And when you stop running, God connects you with other men who have also stopped running. And those relationships transform you. The sixth thing that happens is your legacy changes. What you're building. What you're creating. What you're leaving behind. Because when you're running from God, you're building the wrong things. Temporary things. Meaningless things. Things that won't last. Things that won't matter. But when you stop running and start following God, everything you build has eternal significance. Every decision has kingdom impact. Every action contributes to something bigger than yourself. You're not just making money. You're advancing God's purposes. Not just raising kids. You're raising disciples. Not just building a career. You're building a legacy. 1 Corinthians 3 verses 12 to 13 describes this difference. Now if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each one's work will become manifest, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. When you're running from God, you're building with wood, hay, and straw. Stuff that burns. Stuff that doesn't last. Stuff that has no eternal value. But when you surrender to God, you start building with gold, silver, and precious stones. Stuff that survives the fire. Stuff that lasts forever. Stuff that has eternal significance. Your legacy shifts from temporary to eternal. From self-focused to God-glorifying. From meaningless to meaningful. The seventh thing that happens is freedom. Real freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want. The freedom to become who you were created to be. To fulfill your purpose. To walk in your calling. To live without the weight of rebellion. John 8 verse 36 promises, "So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." Free indeed. Not kind of free. Not partially free. Free indeed. Completely. Totally. Permanently. Running from God feels like freedom. You're doing what you want. Going where you want. Living how you want. But it's not freedom. It's slavery. Slavery to your flesh. Your appetites. Your impulses. Your rebellion. You're a slave who thinks he's free because he can't see the chains. But when you stop running, when you surrender to God, He breaks those chains. Frees you from the slavery of sin. The bondage of self. The prison of your own way. And you discover real freedom. The freedom to be who you were created to be. To do what you were designed to do. To live the life you were meant to live. Not slavery to rules. Freedom through relationship. Not restriction. Liberation. Not bondage. Breaking free. The eighth thing that happens when a man stops running from God is his strength multiplies. He doesn't become weaker through surrender. He becomes stronger. Because he's no longer fighting God. He's working with God. And there's exponential strength in that alignment. Isaiah 40 verse 31 promises, "But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Renewed strength. Eagle strength. Supernatural endurance. That's what happens when you stop running and start walking with God. When you're running from God, you're exhausted. Constantly tired. Constantly drained. Because rebellion is exhausting. Fighting God takes energy. Resisting His will depletes you. You're working against the current instead of with it. Swimming upstream instead of downstream. But when you stop running, when you surrender, when you align with God's will, His strength becomes yours. You're no longer fighting the current. You're flowing with it. No longer swimming upstream. Moving downstream. And the same water that was resisting you is now propelling you. You don't get weaker through surrender. You get stronger. Infinitely stronger. Because God's strength is working through you now. The ninth thing that happens is joy. Deep, unshakable joy. Not happiness that depends on circumstances. Joy that exists despite circumstances. A joy that comes from being exactly where you're supposed to be. Doing exactly what you're supposed to do. Walking with the God you were created to walk with. Nehemiah 8 verse 10 declares, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." The joy of the Lord. Not the happiness of circumstances. The joy of being in relationship with God. Of walking in obedience. Of fulfilling your purpose. Of living aligned with your design. Running from God creates guilt, shame, regret, a constant awareness that you're not where you should be. And those feelings kill joy. Rob it. Steal it. You might have moments of happiness, but you don't have deep, abiding joy. Because joy comes from alignment with God. And you're out of alignment. But when you stop running, when you surrender, when you come into alignment, joy floods in. Not because everything in your life is perfect. Because you're finally in the right relationship with God. Finally walking in obedience. Finally fulfilling your purpose. And that joy becomes your strength, sustains you through difficulty, carries you through trials, empowers you when circumstances would otherwise defeat you. The 10th thing that happens when a man stops running from God is he becomes dangerous. Not in a harmful way, in a kingdom way. Dangerous to the enemy, dangerous to darkness, dangerous to evil. Because a surrendered man is the most dangerous man in the world. Not a running man, not a rebellious man, a surrendered man, a man aligned with God, a man operating in God's power, a man walking in God's purpose. That man can't be stopped, can't be defeated, can't be destroyed, because he's not fighting in his own strength anymore. He's fighting with God's power. Ephesians 6 verse 10 commands, "Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might." Strong in the Lord, not in yourself, in him. And when you're strong in him, when you've stopped running and surrendered, you become unstoppable. The enemy doesn't fear strong men. He fears surrendered men. Men who've stopped running from God and started walking with him. Men who are aligned with God's purposes, connected to God's power, operating in God's authority. Those men change the world, shake nations, transform cultures, defeat darkness. Not because they're special, because they've stopped running. They've surrendered. They've said yes, and God is working through them. So here's the question. Are you still running? Are you still resisting? Are you still fighting what you know God is calling you to do? Are you still postponing obedience? Delaying surrender? Running from the very thing that would transform your life? Because every day you run is a day wasted. Every moment you resist is a moment lost. Every decision to delay is a decision to stay stuck, unfulfilled, living beneath your purpose. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You can stop running. Today, right now, this moment, you can turn around, surrender, say yes, submit to what God has been calling you to. Give him what you've been withholding. Obey what you've been resisting. And when you do, everything changes. Peace floods in. Clarity comes. Purpose is revealed. Power is released. Relationships shift. Legacy changes. Freedom arrives. Strength multiplies. Joy overflows. You become dangerous. Not because you're finally ready, because you finally stopped requiring readiness. Not because you have it all figured out, because you surrendered to the one who does. Not because you're strong enough, because you connected to the source of all strength. Stop running. Stop resisting. Stop fighting. Turn around. Surrender. Say yes. And watch what God does with a man who finally stops running from him and starts walking with him. Everything you've been searching for while running is found when you stop. Everything you've been avoiding while running is exactly what you need. Everything you thought surrender would cost you is nothing compared to what running has already cost you. Stop running. Your breakthrough is waiting. Your purpose is ready. Your power is available. Your peace is here. But you have to stop running to receive it. So stop. Today. Turn around. Surrender. And watch what happens when a man stops running from God.